By 1821, many things have changed in the world. Most of these changes have occurred in Western Europe. The ideas of the French Revolution have spread and changed the political landscape of France, Spain, everywhere west of the River Rhine, the Benelux, Portugal and Italy. Britain, on the other hand, remained itself for the most part, more focused on its empire, while also keeping an eye on France via the satellite states of Brittany and the re-established Netherlands. All while in India, a power struggle between British-controlled India and the realm of Jaisalmer was ongoing over the control over the remaining independent Indian states. In the east, the Koreans were reforming the territorial structure of their empire. Germany, meanwhile, was on the track to being unified under Prussian leadership. Having been granted the vassal of Alsace in the aftermath of the French defeat, Prussian leadership could now focus on consolidating its position as the leader of all Germans. In the east, the thorn of Poland was still felt in both Russia's and Prussia's foreign policies. Outside of Europe, Prussian explorers continued their endeavors in the land that became known as Australia and New Swabia. In Russia itself, the government became more inward-looking. Regions like the Baltics and Finland were granted some limited autonomy, while remaining within the empire. The empire was engaged in attempts to influence states in the Caucasus and Central Asia against the Ottomans and Jaisalmer. Despite all attempts to bring down Spanish influence through indirect means by outside forces, Spain came out on top against Napoleon's France. However, Spain was not spared from the effects and aftermath of the liberal French Revolution. By February of 1822, Spanish liberals have taken up arms against the royal government. This series of conflicts became known as the Liberal Wars, would only end permanently in 1829. In 1833, the Spanish Queen, Isabella II, introduced a parliamentary system, granting voting rights to all men and women who own property and are 30 and over, unlike her predecessor who was willing to shoot any liberal that spoke up. In contrast, in 1825, a clique formed in the Russian political sphere, the so-called Decembrists. However, they were far less radical in both their activism and ideology than either French or Spanish liberals. In 1829, Russian and Prussian diplomats have come together in terms of resolving the issue of the Polish-Lithuanian state. It was decided that the Prussians will take everything west of Warsaw, while Russia will take Lithuania. The following year, having had found out about the planned partition of Poland, the Polish parliament has decided to go to war with both Prussia and Russia. Early on, Lithuania was lost to the Russians. And by December, all of Poland was occupied, including Warsaw yet again. The peace treaty was drawn up by mid-1832, leaving Poland as a mere shadow of its former self, left as a buffer zone between the two giants. By 1836, Russian America had greatly expanded, with Russian Alaska finally being connected with the town of Mikhailgrad. In 1832, a massive revolt occurred in Ottoman-controlled Greece. The revolt was put down, but on some island in the Aegean Sea, a Greek state was proclaimed. No outside power intervened to help the Greeks, as Britain, Prussia, Spain, and Russia were concerned with other matters. Meanwhile, in North America, Michigan was in a standoff with Quebec over the fallen ruins on Martinique. One topic that was raised in the aftermath of the French Revolution was the topic of slavery. Most European states either practiced slavery or had some variation of it, like serfdom. In 1833, the British government under Prime Minister Charles Grey passed the Slavery Abolition Act. Other West European states would follow this example in the coming decades. In 1839, the Dutch government brutally suppressed a revolt in its southern regions. The brutality of this crackdown was so horrid, even Britain had to denounce their ally and declare that they will not defend such a brutal government any longer. This left the Netherlands little choice, now that they were abandoned between France and Prussia.